Down below, Bob Seger. This is a CVT guitar lesson for Alexander, and the tuning is standard. And you wanted a particular cover of this, so I've got that written in the uploader's name. So we're on the same one. It's actually a really good version, close up of him playing and all that. So he did a nice job, and this is what you wanted. So let's jump in on this. Now, I think this is your third CVT lesson. One of these days, Alexander, maybe you can, I don't know, add me on Skype or something and send me a video if you feel comfortable with you just kind of jamming and playing, you know, maybe one of the CVTs. It doesn't have to be the whole song, but it'll kind of help me analyze where you're at with your playing and see where maybe I need to slow down if necessary, or speed up if it's, you know what I mean. So we can talk about that later. But anyways, let's jump right in. So there's a couple solos here. Solo 1 comes in at 2 seconds, and fret 8 on string 1, the high E. You're going to pick that in vibrato. And for me, vibratos, and actually most players, we use our thumb as like a anchor or a pivot in the crease of your thumb here, over the top up here on low E on fret 8. And the vibrato comes from the wrist. So, but that's a prime example, Alexander. You know, if I can hear you play, you may already have a full grasp on vibratos, which I wouldn't need to spend as much time explaining them, you know, and vice versa. So, after that, 11B to 10G, and you're gonna bend, release, bend. It'll go. Oops, I'm back a half step bits. And then hold it, pick 11B, hit the 10G, which is still bent. Alright, and you'll do that again and then release it. So you have so when you release that, go 8G to 10D, and then shift that third finger down to the 10G, and then right back up to the 10D. Use it as a pivot. And then 8th fret G, half step bend. Half step bend means it's a 1 fret bend. When you bend a note, think about it. You're changing the pitch of that. So if you need something to gauge that, you can go a fret higher on 9. And you gotta use your ear, of course, with this, but bend it to that. And that would be called a half step bend. 10 on the D, pull off to 8, 10 slide. 12 seconds in, 5D, hammer on to the 7th fret, and then 5G vibrato. And then move over to 3G with the index. And so pentatonic scales, that's where these notes are coming from. 3G, and then when you get on the D, go 5, 4, 3, 1, 1, half step bend. Sounds like this. Half step, 1 fret, 3, 1A. And that's it for solo 1. Then the main rhythm comes in. This is you've heard it before. Blues. This is all over the place with that. 8E, 10A. This is 19 seconds in of section 1. Kind of have that thumb in the middle of the neck there because we're going to need to stretch. We're going to hit those 2 strings. So right there, that's a C5 power chord. Short rest, and then extend the pinky to 12A. Keep this first finger on 8E. And then stop that one. So it's ring, break. and then back to 8-10 twice to 8-12. That has double dots around it, so it's 8 times of this. Okay, I'll do a few of them. Alright, after the 8th time, just drop it down 1 string each, 8A and 10D. You're going to do the same distancing between your frets. It's just down lower, and you're only going to do it 1 time. 8-10, 8-12, 8-10 twice, 8-12 once. Sounds like this. The next one, you just move it flat or backwards 2 frets to 6 and 8. Do the same thing though. So that gives you. And then some little fills that he does. 3rd finger barred on the 10th fret, G and B. With stuff like this, because we're going to end up doing a bend release on both strings, back it with the middle and the index. So all of them are barring. And you want to hit the G and B, bend up, and bring it back down. And then 8G vibrato. 10 pull 8 on the D string, pull off. So, and then do it again, but end on the 8G vibrato. So you have. Sometimes when people bend those bars, they'll accidentally go, and one of the strings, usually the underneath, will slip out, and then you only hear 1 string or an open with it, which will not be good. So put good force and pressure on that. Alright, then after that, you're going to go back to our blues progression, but this time it's 10A, 12D, extended to the 10-14. It's the same thing, just different frets and strings. And then scoot that flat, or back 2 frets to 8-10, do the same thing. And then back to this again. Exactly the same. So it's included in section 1, and that little thing's played twice. 54 seconds in, you go back to section 1. Same way. That's the intro solo. Section 2, 1:28 in. Some more continuing of these blues power chords, 8A and 10D. And you run through that concept once. And then the transition, it's great because you just move it up to the E and A string and do the same thing. That whole thing is 3 times. You'll see double dots with 3X after it. Okay, top of page 3. We got 4 pages total in your tabs. 5A, 7th fret, D and G. Now I went ahead and used his fingerings. But you can actually do this, which is a D5 power chord with the octave, the root and the octave. But usually I will bar something like that with the secondary finger. 3rd fret will handle what these 2 are doing, or my pinky. But you got 3 options there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then a G5 power chord with the octave, 3E, 5th fret, A and D. And do the same thing. So it's a minute 46. You're back to section 1. Played the same way. That's the whole verse breakdown. Solo number 2 comes in at 2 minutes 19 seconds in. It's the 8th fret high E, picked vibrato 2 times. So it's rest and then 2 more, 2 more, and then 1. Oh, by the way, 3rd finger on that. So twice, 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 once. Then you'll go 8E, 6E, 7B, half step bend vibrato. So 1 fret bend. So you'll end up sounding like this on the last 3. And that's played twice from the 6th fret. So you'll go 7B, which we're already there, pull off to 6, and then go 8G, 6B, 8G vibrato. Sounds like this. Okay? So you end up going 2 minutes 28 seconds in, 5D, hammer on to 7, then 5G twice, 7D, 5G, sounds like this. 7G, bend a whole step, that's 2 frets, bending this D note to an E note. I like to back that with a couple fingers. And then go 7, 5, 7, bend release, 5G. So that little subgroup from rest to rest is 12G, and I put the fingerings he's using, to 13B, 11 high E, half step bend. So it's hold the bend though, because you're gonna at that half step point you're gonna pick it 4 times, so it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this time pick release to 13B, and then on the high E, bunch of notes here. 11, 12, 13, 13 bend, and then 13, 12, 12 half step bend twice. So that sounds like this. Hold, pick release. 13B, 11E, half step bend release. So you'll end up sounding like this. And then 13B, 10E, 13B vibrato. 13B vibrato, and then go 11 high E, half step bend release to 13B, and then 11E, 13B, up down, it's fast. Okay? And then hit it again, slide. So 8th fret on the B string. And what you're going to do, you can use 3rd finger for both. This is 8B and then 8th fret on the high E 3 times to 6 on the high E. 8, pull off to 6 on the E, and then 8B, alternate pick from that point on. So it's on the high E, 6, 8, 6, 8. And then up on 6E. So it's 8B, 6 twice, 8G slide. So think of your outline of. Alright, 2 minutes 48 seconds, 5D, hammer on to 7. And then go on the G, 5, 7, 7, vibrato, bend release. So it's to 5G, and then go 7, 5, DG. So 7th fret on the B string, use your 3rd finger. This is what he's using. I wouldn't necessarily use the same fingering, but you got the visual on the video, so I figured it might be a little easier, but you can change some of that. Slide that to the 8th fret, let it ring as you play 8 high E with the pinky, and do that 5 times. You can hear them ringing together. Top of page 4, 8 high E vibrato, and that's how it ends. 2 minutes 54 seconds in, a series of repeats. Section 2, section 1, section 1 from star, and then 3 minutes 54 seconds in, 10A, 12D, and it's that same blues progression. You're just going to go once, over to 8, 10, 10, A, D, and G. So it's, and I went for the secondary finger bar. 3 minutes 59 seconds in, this is kind of the ending. Some solo stuff. You're gonna bar the 8th fret with the first finger on the E and B, and then 3rd finger bar the 10th fret E and B, bend release. And then go 8G, 10D. So we could subgroup that, Alexander, and it sounds like this. Notice when I go to the 10th fret, I'm keeping this first finger barred. I'm also going to put my middle finger on the 9th fret and bar those, so I get the strength that I need to bend it and release it and have more control. On the G, go 10-8-8. On the D, go 10-8-10 vibrato. So 4 minutes 5 seconds in, we're going to go 10G and 11B. Experiment with fingering. You can go 3rd and 4th, or you can go middle and 3rd. But whatever you do, I would back the G with a finger or two. You're going to hit them both, bend the G a whole step. Hold it and go BG, 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 release. In other words, 11B, 10G bend. And then go 11B to 10G, pull off to 8. And then 8 vibrato. No. You'll go 11B, 10G, pull to 8, to 10D, then 8G vibrato. Here's that played as a subgrouped riff. I prefer the 3rd and 4th so I can play the phrase after it a little smoother. Alright, after that, on the D string, 10-8-10.